Hey everybody, best friend Stephen Pappas here. We just wanted to break in before the show and offer our deepest condolences for the victims and the families and everyone affected by the tragedy in Las Vegas a few days ago. It's incredibly heartbreaking to see this happen yet again, and I feel like we've had to break in too many times with tragedies and things like that, and it's frustrating and it's hard to watch. And so we want to say we are thinking about everyone involved, everyone who's been affected, whether you know someone personally or it's affecting your mental health on the outside. We're thinking about you, and we stand with you, because sometimes thoughts and prayers being extended is a great thing, but sometimes that's not enough. And at this point, Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook, San Bernardino, Fort Hood, Pulse nightclub, and now Las Vegas, something has to change, and we have to figure out a way to love each other and to support each other. And so we just want to extend our deepest condolences and know that we stand behind the victims and their families and everyone affected, and we will seek to see something change. On with the show.
Hey everybody, it's your best friend Amanda from New Bern, Tennessee, and you're listening to Is This Adulting?
Hey everybody, and welcome to Is This Adulting, a weekly conversation between two best friends navigating adulthood as overgrown man-children. I'm best friend number one, Stephen Pappas, and I'm real lonely here today, or at least I thought I was going to be, because there's no best friend number two, Chris Grimmett, y'all. He's gone. He's not gone forever. That sounded bad. He's still around. He's just having some real bad tummy troubles. I know we talked about it on the last episode and he wasn't feeling good. Well, now it's looking like he's still sick and he is not actually able to be here. So I'm flying solo for the first time, so be kind to me. But this week we are excited to welcome another set of amazing guests to the show. From the History Goes Bump podcast, two of my personal podcast inspirations and good friends, Diane and Denise, are here. Hey, ladies.
Hi, I'm your best friend, Diane.
And I'm your best friend and ghost host, Denise.
Woo! I'm so excited to have y'all on the show, for real, because this episode will be coming out one day before what marks our 6 months of doing the show. And so we knew immediately. We were like, well, we're planning. It's going to be in October, and it's going to be our 6-month anniversary of the show. We need to get Diane and Denise on, because what people do know is, because I'm assuming, because most people know, is you host a show called History Goes Bump, and it's wonderful, and it is one of the two main shows that inspired me to start podcasting. And so you all have been super supportive friends, and this podcast would not exist without History Goes Bump. And so for all of you out there listening who love us and have connected with our community, you have these ladies to thank.
Well, Stephen, I have to tell you, it is really cool for us to be on with you, because just watching you grow from where you were when you came on with us, I think you've been on History Goes Bump 4 or 5 times, and to watch you branch out and do your own thing and do it in such an awesome way. And I mean, obviously, if you're on 6 months, that's sticking it out. A lot of people don't stick out a podcast, and you are doing a fabulous job over here. And we're very proud of you and honored to be on with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun, from going all the times we had you on the show to hanging out with you in Asheville, North Carolina, when we came up there to see you, and then seeing you here now doing your own show. It's been really cool to watch.
Well, thank y'all. It's very sweet of you to say. And we've had a lot of fun with it, and I want to say thank you publicly. I've said thank you privately, I think, 1 million times, because you know me, I'm a people pleaser, and I say thank you and I'm sorry every other sentence. But I will say thank you publicly for inspiring me and for being the first podcast to ever reach back out to me and to show me that, oh, hosts are people too.
Well,
because I never knew that.
You're welcome, Stephen. And you know what's really cool is we're on video, so I can see that you're not sitting in a closet anymore while we're recording.
I'm not. I used to be hiding in the closet all the time when we recorded my guest spots on there. And you know what? I've upgraded. I have my own quote unquote office, which is just our spare bedroom. But I'm calling it an office because it sounds official.
Well, and it looks great behind you. It's better than seeing the clothes and stuff.
Yes. Well, and we can.
I sure hope so.
And we can definitely feel good that we inspired you to come out of the closet.
Very fitting.
I love it. Well, we are going to get into everything and all the shenanigans that we get into here in just a second. But before we do you want to tell people where they can find you on the internet and maybe a little bit about History Goes Bump?
Sure. Denise, did you want to do that?
Sure. So we're out there at historygoesbump.com, and that's going to be basically, if you put that in, you'll find pretty much everywhere we're at. We're at Stitcher, iTunes, where else?
Everywhere that you can find a podcast, we are there. If you go to historygoesbump.com, it's your one-stop shop for all of our social media and stuff.
Yes, and so we like to say we're ghost tours for the theater of the mind. So that's always been one of our things to do, is to take people on virtual ghost tours, because we love doing historical spooky tours. And so we thought, what a great way to be able to take you along with us.
And they are great at doing it, let me say. You're how many episodes in now? About 225, I think?
We are working on 225. You are correct.
I was going to say, I think you're right around there. And every one of them that I've listened to, which is, let's be honest, every one, has been great and has been a load of fun. So if you're into spooky and paranormal, definitely check it out. And, stay tuned, because there's a theme for this episode, and that theme is Halloween and creepy and spooky. Yeah. And I'm really excited about it. So maybe Chris is happy he's not here.
I think
because he's scared of everything.
That's what you had said. And so I was wondering if this is just stress, like adrenaline that feels like it's stabbing you in the stomach, or actually his gallbladder.
Well, I don't hope for either one, but I think it's for real. I think he was ready to conquer his fear of all things scary. So we're gonna soldier on without him. But before we get into all the spooky and all the fun, we got to go through housekeeping. Sorry, it's everyone's favorite part, I know. First off, we want to say thanks to Amanda for the audio drop at the beginning of the episode. If you'd like to do one of those, you can record it on your phone. It's that simple. Just say, hey, this is your best friend and your name from and where you live, and you're listening to Is This Adulting, and we'll get it in front of the show. We also want to say thanks to Chris for his new monthly pledge on Patreon. And we also have new and exciting things going on over on the website, over at isthisadultingpod.com. We have a blog now set up with all of the show notes set up for all of our episodes. So as we have pictures and videos and things like that play into the episode and different things that you want to see, because I know oftentimes I forget to put pictures in the show notes. That's all going to be going up on the website now. So you can go over to isthisadultingpod.com, click on episodes, and you should be able to find it. Last but not least, we are hosting a meetup, as I've said, every week at this point, for quite a long time. It's a little less than 3 weeks away, October 21st, which is a Saturday at 1 p.m. at Brakeman's Coffee in Matthews, North Carolina. We're going to rent out the upstairs room, and we're all just going to hang out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're in the North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina area, and you feel like making the trek up, definitely do it. We're excited. And if nobody shows up, we'll just be sad. We'll just be sad, and we'll do some planning to just make our show even better, because clearly we've done something wrong.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding.
Whoa. Yeah, you haven't done something wrong, because it took us a while before people started meeting up with us on our road trips. And even now, things happen and life happens and they can't make the trek. So it's not that you've done something wrong. It could just be life sending people curveballs.
I like to think that that's the case. So I also like to just make fun of us and our fun insecurities, because we're all about mental health here. So we are going to start off this week, just like we do every week, with a mental health check-in. And for the first time ever, I'm not going to say, Chris, how you been this week? If you ladies would like to participate, I would be thrilled to be able to ask Diane, how have you been this week?
Actually doing pretty good this week. Anytime we roll into October, I'm good. It doesn't matter because not only is Halloween coming up, as we're going to be discussing, but this is also my birth month. So I've always absolutely loved October, and fall is my favorite season. So everything's good in my world.
That's awesome. What about you, Denise?
I can't really complain either. Things are going really, really good. I'm at a crossroads trying to figure out where to head into the future because I'm considering retirement at a younger age, which would be really fun. And just trying to figure out where the winds are going to take me on this next adventure. So it's just kind of that anticipation, but excitement and just going along really good. And I love this time of year when we get to do all of our spooky stories and hang out and decorate and do Halloween. And so it's really a fun time of year for me as well.
Awesome.
And should we ask you,
Why?
Stephen, how are you doing?
Sure, that would be wonderful. Thank you. I'm doing pretty well. I've been overworking the last few weeks, as I've said on every episode, so I'm trying to slow down and schedule myself out a little bit more and learn to take time for myself. But I really can't complain. You know, things have been going well. Things are going well with the show, and things are going well personally for me. And so I'm in a good place. My meds adjustment, as I've referred to the last few weeks, is going pretty well. I haven't noticed any bad side effects. In fact, I'm noticing do you call them side effects if they're good? I don't know. Just that the good things are happening with the medicines. So I am all good on this end. So wow. We had an all good mental health check-in this week.
Well, and I know I saw on Facebook you just got back from vacation. We're very jealous that you got to go hang out with Mike Brown from Pleasing Terrors and do his tour. What'd you think?
I did. That ghost tour was so fun. It was so fun. Mike actually told me about meeting you and sitting down and seeing your shirt and going, "Oh, do you listen to History Goes Bump?" And he said y'all responded and said, "We are History Goes Bump," actually.
Yeah. That was really cute. That was because he's just like, because we had our shirts and he's like, "So do y'all listen to that podcast?" Yeah, we do.
Sometimes
it's all right.
It's okay.
No, I had a load of fun with it. I actually just recorded a bonus episode over on Patreon and just talked about my vacation the whole time, and I gushed about Mike's tour a good bit because that was actually, sorry if the people whose wedding we went to are listening, the highlight of my weekend in Charleston was actually the ghost tour. So we'll just not tell them.
So I know we're creeping out your podcast a little bit, or this episode. So what did you think about the old jail?
I'll tell you, I was scared of it, to be honest. Walking by it felt creepy, and it didn't help that while we were standing there was an ice cream truck, and it was playing just over and over really loud right in front of this really creepy jail. There's something about the juxtaposition of happy music with a scary place, and it terrified me, but that scared me. I loved the Unitarian graveyard, though, walking through there, and it's beautiful. It is beautiful. My wife was a little freaked out because there was a really big spider in it, but
spiders get me too, so I don't blame her.
Ghosts don't get you, but spiders get you.
Oh my gosh, she will go from laying horizontal to on her feet with a baseball bat if there's a spider. Now, granted, it was a pretty big wolf spider, but it was funny. All of a sudden, she would from laying down to standing on the bed, like ready to kill it. Ready to go to war.
This was one of those big black and yellow, like the size of like, I don't know, $50 at least, a little bigger. It was not a pleasant one to be near. So she looked up and saw that, and she took off. I continued to take pictures and look around. I thought it was beautiful, but
yeah. I will tell you. I was going to tell you, I'm right there with you with the old jail. Diane went and was like looking in the windows and stuff. I took some pictures from across the street, and I'm like, no, I'm good right over here across the street, because it was creeping me out across the street. I didn't even have to be looking in it or on the same side of the street as it.
Yeah, you did what my wife did. She was on the same side of the street and took some pictures, but she didn't go up to it. I was going and looking in windows, and some of the windows don't even have glass. It's just barred in the basement, so I was looking into those, and she was keeping a distance, so I can't blame her. It would have terrified me if I saw anything, but I you know me.
Well, you know that Mike
But
Brown spent the night in there all by himself with nobody else, right?
he did, and it's terrifying. I don't know how he did it. I think that's episode 14 and 15 of Pleasing Terrors. It's a two-parter. So if you guys haven't listened to that episode, everybody out there, go check it out, because one, Pleasing Terrors is just fantastic, and two, that episode, even my wife, who hates scary things, was super into it, and she really enjoyed it. But before we get into scary things, I just want to remind you, as always, if you have a mental health check you'd like to share, an idea of how we could encourage you throughout the week, we're not professionals, but you can email us over at isthisadultingpod@gmail.com. You can also join the Is This Adulting Best Friends group on Facebook. It's a really cool support group. Everybody in there is super kind and super understanding, and it's a very inclusive and accepting place, and it's been amazing to watch it grow, so definitely check that out. We are going to get into topics. So this week, both topics and the game have to do with creepy creep. Just creepy stuff, y'all. And the reason that I did that was, one, because we're entering October, but mostly because I was like, Diane and Denise are coming on, and I didn't want to ask you to come on late in October because I know how busy you get around Halloween. So I wanted to go ahead and get you on now, and we're just going to have our like Halloween special early in the month.
Hey, isn't all month Halloween month? That's how we celebrate here.
Exactly. It's the 31 days of Halloween. That's the way I look at it, and that's what I celebrate. So the first topic that we're going to get into today is our topic that we would usually bring, that Chris and I discussed, which is, brace for it, everyone, Halloween. The topic is Halloween.
Surprise.
It's that simple. I know, right? It's you know, it's a hard topic to talk about, I'm sure, for you all. So my first question that came to mind when I think about Halloween, because I think it goes without saying that all three of us, and Chris included actually, love Halloween. We all three love Halloween. That's not something I think that we need to really nail home of like, how do you feel about Halloween? I'm curious, what was Halloween for you like growing up? Because I've heard vastly different stories from people.
I have always loved Halloween, and I was one of those kids that liked to make my own costumes. Now, there was a time, and I know I've seen the Woolworths commercial floating around from 1977 with those little plastic costumes. And yes, I had Snoopy and Woodstock, but it was just this plastic face that you would put. It would go over the front of your face, and then you'd have elastic that went around the back of your head, and then it was this plastic costume that I'm sure was toxic. And if you stepped wrong, you shredded the whole center of it out. So you'd have it like half fallen off by the end of the night. I did that a couple times, but otherwise, I loved...
Wait, but I do need to ask, did you stick your tongue out of the little mouth breathing hole?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, that seems dangerous. Those things are... I remember plastic masks, and they're sharp. Like, you could cut your tongue on that.
They are.
But if you had blood, it would make it better, right?
I don't think Snoopy and Woodstock are supposed to be bleeding from the mouth.
It'd be kind of cool, like zombie Snoopy or zombie Woodstock. Before their time, you could have been a legend. Just saying.
But I used to love making my own costumes. And I remember when we were kids, and it seems like they don't do it as much nowadays because now we're the ones giving out the candy and trying to scare the kids. But
right.
I don't know. They don't go around as much. We don't get as many kids, and there's a lot of the trunk or treats now because, you know, I guess it feels safer that way. But I just loved, we'd have one of the parents go out with us, and there'd be a whole gaggle of us kids. And I always loved it when you'd go to that one door and they'd say trick, and you'd stand there for a minute and go, I don't know what to do.
What do we do?
And the older we got, we would wait until the later in the evening when all the little kids were done because the people were trying to get rid of their candy. So they'd be dumping, you know, the half the bowl into your bag because they wanted to get rid of the candy. So those are some of the things I really remember and loved. And you could wear costumes in school back then. I don't know that they let them do it as much now. And we'd have a little parade where you'd show off your costume and stuff. So I've always loved it.
Yes, I've always loved Halloween as well. Sometimes the whole school stuff and things was a little bit awkward because I didn't really mesh well with school growing up. But I loved going with my friends later on, especially teenage years. And we didn't take like the little pumpkin candy holders. We took pillowcases because those always held so much more. And we would run all over because then you could just run amok. We would be out for hours and hours and hours until the last light clicked up and said we couldn't come up and ring their doorbell anymore. And as far as costumes, I'm trying to think, because I had the plastic stick your tongue out of the little mouth hole costumes as well, but we made some of our own. We'd always go standby if we kind of forgot. I remember the one time me, my little brother, and our cousin and his little brother all did our faces up like Kiss, the band Kiss, and then wore our taekwondo uniforms. So it was kind of like really cool. And so we went around. So Robert was probably only about 3, and so I think he was Peter. No, Fred was Peter Chris. Who was Robert? But anyway, he was one of the Kiss characters at age 2, going trick or treating with us. So it was quite fun. And then as we grew older, it just has developed from there. So it's a really, really fun holiday for us.
All right, get ready. I'm going to drop a bomb on you. I have never been trick-or-treating.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. We need to bring you to Florida.
You need to come down here some October because you can trick-or-treat as an adult at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
Oh, at Disney World. Okay, I was going to say, if I'm walking around Orlando, I think I'm going to get the police called on me.
No, we had a couple of adults trick-or-treat at our house last year, and we gave them candy. They were in costume. We're like,
that's true. I have given adults candy if they've come.
I grew up in a small town in North Carolina, and it was the Bible Belt, and there was this thing going around kind of in the mid-90s. I think we were still kind of not far off from the Satanic Panic. And like, for some reason, my parents, who are not hyper religious people by any means, but they were just like, nope, no Halloween. So I never went trick-or-treating. But granted, they just bought me a bunch of candy and let me rent movies and watch a bunch of movies. So I mean, I didn't mind it.
No.
But now that I'm older, it feels like, I never really did the trick-or-treating thing. I went with, when I was like 18, I went with a friend's little sister. We took me and him took her walking around the neighborhood. But aside from that, I've never been trick-or-treating. And actually, my mother and I argue about whether or not this statement is true. I've never had a birthday party either.
What?
Yeah, I had friends over, like 2 or 3 friends, like usually my 2 best friends, and we would like buy a pizza and rent some movies. But that was as close to like a birthday party as I ever really did. Like I don't know if I didn't want it as a kid or it just never kind of happened. So my wife keeps threatening to throw me a birthday party, and I'm very scared that one day she'll go through with it, because I believe it or not, because I'm a podcaster, I don't like being the center of attention.
Now, does she listen to the show?
My wife or my mother?
Your wife.
No.
Oh, dang, because I was going to tell her, do it, throw him a party. Dang it.
I'll pass along the message, even though she has learned there's one caveat to it, which is it can't be a surprise party, because I hate surprises. So I would just be mad. Like everyone would jump out and I'd probably just like turn around and walk away. Or I'd smile and pretend to be really happy, but I'd also be really bummed out. Like I have to know it's coming ahead of time. Like I don't like surprises. But that's birthdays, not Halloween. Sorry, I got sidetracked. But
one thing you brought up when you talked about this satanic panic that they kind of had.
Right.
I forgot another special time that Diane and I grew up with Halloween is you weren't allowed to eat one piece of candy until you got home, and then you had to spread it all out and check it for razor blades and like half open things to make sure that somebody hadn't poisoned or razor bladed. Yeah.
That's terrible. I do know that in my neighborhood growing up, there was a house. It was just an older lady, and I don't know if, I don't mean this in a hateful way, and I'm not being ageist, I promise to anyone. I don't know if senility had kind of set in a little bit, but she handed out cigars to children.
That's actually kind of awesome.
I mean, now looking back, I'm like, that old lady was badass. But like now, just as a kid, I was like, that's weird. Like, I don't know. So I know that happened, but no, I never went trick-or-treating. It's real weird. It's like this world and this whole experience that I never really got to have. So I don't know.
So did you ever carve pumpkins?
I did not.
Oh.
I've carved one pumpkin in my life, and it was with my wife. We were dating at the time in college, and she carves a pumpkin every year, and I still do sometimes, and by sometimes I mean that one time, because they're gooky and I'm weird about things on my hands. I'm trying to be better about it. I think next week we're going to be up in the mountains, and there's a pumpkin patch that we went to that one time when we were dating. So we're going to go there again and get a pumpkin and bring it back with us. And I'm gonna carve it up real good, but I'm not very good at it. So I just do the stereotypical like triangle eyes and jagged mouth jack-o'-lantern. Like I don't get fancy with it. She gets fancy. She did a Harry Potter one last year, and it had glasses and the scar and all that stuff.
You can get the books, but I'm going to send a challenge out to all of your listeners to let Stephen know if you think he has to someday come to Florida to go trick-or-treating with Diane and I, and maybe we'll get some pumpkin carving in there. So just let him know via their email, via the group page, but you can just reach out to him and let him know if you think that's a good idea.
I mean, I think that's a good idea. I'm just dirt broke.
Okay.
Disney's expensive.
It is expensive. And you know what's funny, Stephen? I totally could have pegged why you were going to say you didn't like pumpkins, because I'm like, I bet he doesn't like the guts. It's the pumpkin guts, and it was.
The guts are gross, but like the pumpkin seeds, that's one of my favorite parts of Halloween is like roasting the pumpkin seeds and eating those. Like I could do that all day.
Well, you can get those craft pumpkins now that you don't actually have to empty the innards out of and just carve them.
Like Michael.
See, but that seems like I'm giving up. Like it feels like I have to conquer this like weird fear or whatever, at some point.
But then you don't have your pumpkin wilt and get rotten and go away. You can have it for the next year and then add another pumpkin to it. So it's not a total cop out.
That is true. I did the gift exchange last year in the Spooktacular crew, and I got these really cool skeleton lights that I hang up outside. So I finally have some Halloween decorations. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to put those up this year and get our like 2 trick-or-treaters that come through our neighborhood, because it's mostly either older people or families with grown children in our neighborhood, or young families like us who don't have children. Yeah. So we're going to hang our lights and turn our porch light on and see if anybody shows up. But I also wanted to ask both of you, because I know I definitely have one. Do you have a favorite Halloween memory? Like your absolute favorite Halloween memory? I know that's hard because you have done the Halloween thing a lot, because I know you love it. So, but do you have just like one memory that sticks out as like your favorite Halloween?
Wow, that's tough because I have so many that I've enjoyed. I know when I was a kid, the thing I really loved, because it doesn't happen anymore, is my folks would both dress up. And my dad would dress up as this kind of, he had this rubber mask that looked like I don't know, it was just like a kind of creepy guy. And he'd wear his flannel shirt and his jeans and walk around with us. But my mom would do the full-on witch with the green makeup and the fake nose and the dress and the hat. And she would wait at the house and she would hand out candy while we went around and got candy with my dad. And that always just seemed like so much fun to me because my folks were dressed up too.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. For me, it's hard too because there's so many great memories. But I do remember one time, because we always would have a Halloween workout for Taekwondo. I teach Taekwondo, and the kids would all be dressed up, and the adults would be dressed up, and so we do stuff like your kiap, which is the yell, had this be like part of your costume. So if you're Dracula, when you turn, instead of yelling, doing the yeah, you would be like wahahaha or whatever. And so there's 2 favorite parts with our dress up workouts. One was when my coach showed up, and he's a big guy, a redhead, and he showed up as the Tooth Fairy, I believe, right?
Yeah, tutu and all.
Yeah, he had a pink tutu, a pink shirt, and he had a wand and his bright red hair and pink tights. And every time he turned, he'd go ding-ling-ling. And then when we were sparring, he would whack people with his fairy wand. That was really fun. So that's one of my fun ones. And the other one was the one time our class was actually on Halloween night, like on the 31st is when our class fell, because usually it fell off. And so we just do the workout. So we asked the kids, we said, well, do we want to do our dress up workout and then maybe have the adults take all the kids out trick-or-treating? Or do we just want to, skip it, do it a different day, or just skip it this year? And they all wanted to come Halloween night to Taekwondo. So we did our fun workout that we always did. And then afterwards, all the adults in the class chaperoned all the kids to go trick-or-treating for like hours. And some of the parents came, and we ran into a creepy graveyard that somebody had done in their yard. And it was just a lot of fun with the kids. And I think it was fun for them because here was their Taekwondo instructor and all the seniors in class out trick-or-treating with them. So that was another really fun memory of mine.
That seems cool. I feel like for me, when I look back, I have two favorite Halloween memories, and oddly enough, they've both been as quote unquote adults. And one was the very first Halloween. I had just met this girl, who was just a friend, named Katie, who, spoiler alert, we got married, but I had just met her, and it was fun, and we were just kind of getting to know each other, and we went to help hand out candy at, we were part of a campus ministry together at our campus minister's house, and so he could take his little children around, and so we decided to kind of mess with kids, and I hid in the back of a truck in a full like Grim Reaper outfit. Like, I laid in the bed of his truck, and when kids would come up, I would like jump out of the truck and like jump at them. But the problem is, like, I scared a few like very small children without meaning to, because I couldn't see their age until they were out, or I was out of the truck already. And so like I had to like take my mask off and like approach a little girl and be like, it's just me. It's just me. But like, it was one of the nights that I kind of got to know my wife, and she was dressed up as Tiger Lily from Peter Pan, and she had this red feather, and oddly enough, I stole it from her, and we still to this day, 6 years later, pass that red feather back and forth and try to hide it in places so that the other one can find it.
Well, that's cute.
Which, yeah, I feel like I'm just like, look how super mushy we are. But I also used Spooky Woods, which is a local haunted attraction. I was terrified, quote unquote. I wasn't really. I used it as an excuse to hold her hand when she had no interest in me, because I was like, oh, we're in a dark area and I can't see anything. Help me. Like, that's probably terrible of me to have done, but she ended up liking me, so it worked, right?
Apparently, scaring the woman gets her.
I'm not sure that's what I want to be known for.
Well, at least you held her hand. You didn't throw her to the chainsaw guy.
Yeah, that's what Denise does to me at haunted houses. She throws me to the guy and runs. So,
no, yeah, we had a friend of ours named Abby who was in the group behind us, because we had such a large group going to this that they had to split us into two groups. And my wife and I both did theater in high school, and so like we were like, oh, cool makeup, cool acting, and so like we would walk in the back of the line, and as people would jump out, like one guy got me, and it actually like jump scared me, and I was like, hey, good scare, man. And he's like, thank you. And then I was like, actually, there's a girl in the next group named Abby. Just do with that what you will. And so as we moved on, we could hear the next group coming through, and we just heard like, Abby, and her like screaming, how do they know my name? How do they know my name? And running. And we did that a lot. I feel kind of terrible about it, but anyway, I guess my other Halloween that sticks out the most is I actually proposed on Halloween. Most people don't know that.
That is cool.
So, yeah, that's my biggest Halloween thing. Did I propose on Halloween on purpose? Nope. Didn't realize it was Halloween because I was so stressed out about proposing that I just went ahead and did it. I didn't have the ring for 45 minutes before I proposed because I was too scared.
Well, that's great, though. It gives you that extra little special memory for Halloween.
Exactly. So and I will never forget the day I proposed in case I'm ever quizzed on it.
There you go. So you'll pass on the newlywed game.
Exactly. I've got to hope that I can. That'll roll back around. Let's be honest. The newlywed game, if it's not on TV again already, it will be soon. They're coming back to everything at this point.
Pretty much. They don't have any original ideas. So they're like, what worked before?
Yeah, exactly. I think the Gong Show was a thing not too long ago again.
It was. So. You're right.
But could you see the newlywed game? So Bachelor number 3, would you like to text her, FaceTime her, or it's like
what's your idea of the perfect date?
Oh, wait, that was the dating game. The newlywed game is asking things about. So did you meet on Facebook, or Snapchat.
Or Tinder.
Oh,
Tinder.
God, Tinder.
We actually had a few friends that met on Tinder and got married. It was actually a really sweet story. It was the first good Tinder love story I heard. Anywho, speaking of dating games and pitting spouse against spouse, I think we're going to go ahead and roll into Chris's favorite segment. What is it, Chris? Oh, wait. Oh, he's not here. Dang. I guess I had to make up a game, guys. And so it was going to be Diane versus Denise versus Chris, but now Chris has forfeited. And so it's just Diane versus Denise.
Oh, boy.
It is wife against wife, just aggressive. Y'all better just... I'm expecting fighting words, and it's going to be intense. So we're going to play a game that I am calling, because I have to give it a name in honor of Chris. I'm calling it Hocus Pocus or Hocus Bogus.
Okay.
And so what I've got is I've got a lot of premises for terrible horror movies. And every time I will ask you which one is real and which one is fake.
Okay.
I will ask both of you, so you could both get it right, or you could neither get it right, or 1 and 1, depending on how you guess. Now, 4 of the 7 have Rotten Tomatoes scores. 3 of them are so bad that they don't even have Rotten Tomatoes scores because nobody reviewed them. But 4 of the 7 have Rotten Tomatoes scores, and on every one of those, I will ask you within 10 percentage points to give me a Rotten Tomatoes score. And if you get within that 10% on either side of it, then you get an extra point.
Okay.
I have a feeling I'm going down.
I don't know. I would like to say my sources from ET Online, Screen Rant, and the Today Show. So when I read things, I did not plagiarize. That is where they're from. It's not me. So the first category, and I'm going to keep a score here. The first category is a category I'm calling construction. And so I'm going to need you to tell me which of these films is real. Killdozer from 1974, a film about a possessed bulldozer that goes on a killing spree, or Hazard Insurance from 1987, a film about a construction team building on cursed ground who is then picked off by freak weather anomalies. So I'm going to go Diane first. Which one do you think is real? Killdozer or Hazard Insurance?
I'm going to go with Hazard Insurance.
All right. Denise?
And I'm going actually with Killdozer.
All right. The correct answer is Killdozer from 1974.
Yes.
One of you had to get it right. I was going to say Killdozer. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it here. This one never hit theaters. It was made for ABC television, but its cult reveres it mostly because of its idiotic premise, an admittedly amazing title complete with superfluous exclamation point, because it's not just Killdozer, it's Killdozer with an exclamation point. What a grade A premise it is. A meteorite with strange powers lands on Earth. When a work crew tries to move it with a bulldozer, the heavy shoveling equipment is possessed by the alien boulder's power and goes on a killing rampage, and then it just dissipates. The biggest disappointment, thanks to its TV movie status, there was never a cool poster created to trumpet its arrival on the junk culture scrap heap.
And I bet we can't find it on Netflix.
Probably not. I've never heard of most of these movies. Some of them I had, but I also like trashy horror movies.
Well, of course, we think the premise there is ridiculous, but not a car that gets possessed and goes on a killing spree. That becomes like a huge hit.
That was written by Stephen King, though, so it's got to be at least good. You know, I don't know. I'm an unabashed Stephen King fan.
Yeah.
So, all right. The next category, and this one will, at the end, once I tell you what it is, I will ask for the Rotten Tomatoes score. So the next category, I'm calling holidays. We all know that there's a lot of holiday-themed horror movies. And so I'm going to ask you which one of these is real. Happy Birthday to Me, a film from 1981 revolving around killings taking place on the birthday of the main character, specifically at their party. Or Arbor Day from 1995, an axe-wielding killer stalks the management of a corporation planning to cut down a forest to build a shopping center. So I'm going to go with Denise this time. Which one do you think is real?
Happy Birthday to Me.
Okay, Denise is saying happy birthday to me. Diane?
Arbor Day.
The correct answer is happy birthday to me.
Oh, man.
I think Diane's going to throw something at Denise. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. In the creative aftermath of Black Christmas, Halloween, and Friday the 13th, the 1980s turned into a muddy cesspool of slash-alike calendar-centric movies. Graduation Day, My Bloody Valentine, and others painted by the numbers and sent a stream of murdered teen bodies down the megaplex conveyor belt. This one barely accomplished even that goal, loosely tying stalker-style murders around the birthday of Little House on the Prairie star Melissa Sue Anderson. In fact, it appears that the entire film's reason to exist was to deliver the kebab-skewering a face murder depicted on the gruesome poster. Worse, they convinced aging screen legend Glenn Ford to be in it. So, with all that being said, I'm going to ask both of you. Diane, you have a chance to get a point here. I'm going to start with Diane since she got it wrong. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes score on this movie is?
I'll say 10.
Okay, you did not hit within the 10 percentile. You did not. Denise, what about you?
Is it like any number? Or I don't know how many, like, because like sometimes it's only...
It's out of 100. It's like a percentage.
Okay. 'Cause I was going to say 13.
Is that your
But
answer?
I'm not going to say that because Diane was out of the 10% score. So
Oh, yeah.
I will say 66.
No, it's actually 27%. And so you were both just... Diane, you were close. You were close.
I can't believe it
You're off
got
by
that.
7%.
27?
I can't either, to be honest, but you'd be shocked by what some of the Rotten Tomatoes are, and then you would not be shocked by what some of them are. So we're moving on to the next category, a category I'm calling music. So which one of these movies is real? Is it 1986's Trick or Treat? The soul of a famous rock star is trapped in his unreleased record, urging a teen to kill. Or is it Halloween Fright, a 1984 film in which a jazz musician sells his soul for fame as a saxophone player, only to learn that those who hear his music meet terrible fates? I believe, Diane, this will be your go.
I'm going with Trick or Treat.
All right. And
I'm
Denise?
going with Halloween Fright.
It is Trick or Treat. Diane, you got a point. You're on the board.
Yay!
In the 1980s, Satanic Panic was all the rage, as we talked about earlier, and an especially loopy strain of it existed in the form of preachers holding seminars on the perils of heavy metal, particularly if played backwards on turntables. Hence this story about a teenage metalhead, played by Mark Price, who was Skippy on Family Ties, by the way, whose favorite rock star dies in a mysterious fire. The only copy of his new unreleased record, however, contains his spirit. When played backwards, the rocker helps his teen fan to get revenge on his bullies, but when the evil rocker suggests murder, it's up to our hero to smash any electronic equipment that could convey the message. Finally, the mean music man is lured into a cassette tape and destroyed. Best or worst of all, we're not sure which one, this one tried to have its devil's food cake and eat it too by casting Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne, two men whose acting talents are inversely proportional to their music-making skills. So, Diane, you got a point there. You have a chance to get another point here. What do you think it got on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'm going to say 35.
Okay, Denise?
Well, just because of who was in it, I'm going to go a little bit higher and say 58.
Denise, you were so close to being within 10 points. It got a 71
Oh, shoot,
on Rotten
I almost
Tomatoes.
went to 75. Ah, dang it. I should have gone with my gut.
And now I will say that is based off of 7 reviews. So only 7 people have reviewed this movie. But people seem to like it. So I don't know. Maybe that's one I'll have to try to track down.
I believe I've actually heard of it, which is why I went with that one. So I don't think I've ever seen it, but I
Okay.
think I have heard of it.
I was going to say, I've heard of a few. That wasn't actually one of them, but I like crappy horror movies, so I had to pick some that people have heard of, I suppose. So the next category, number 4 out of 7, is called Gotta Pay the Bills. So these are work-themed horror movies. So which one of these movies is real? Is it Slasher Center from 1999, a film in which employees of a large box store are stalked by a killer after the store closes? What they don't realize is the killer may be among them. Or is it Blood Freak from 1972, a film in which a man working on a poultry farm turns into a murderous turkey man and feasts on the blood of others?
Golly, I'm going to go with, you know what? I grew up the street from a turkey farm, so I'm going to go with Blood Feast. Is that what it was called?
Blood Freak.
Blood Freak. I'll go with Blood Freak.
Do I have to go with the other one, or can I say the same one?
No, you can always say the same one as her.
I'm going
to
to say Blood Freak as well.
You both get a point.
Yes.
It is Blood Freak. My goodness, this movie, y'all. This movie. I have got to tell you. All right. Doubling as a film perfect to watch on Halloween and Thanksgiving, Blood Freak is a true oddity, a horror film that also doubles as an anti-drug PSA. Might make you feel like you're on drugs, though. Herschel is a Vietnam vet whose world turns around after he meets Angel. While she is as pious and religious as her namesake suggests, he takes a turn for the worst after falling for her drug-addicted sister. This is just so convoluted. Soon he's also hooked on drugs and turns to a turkey farm job to fund his habit. But his problems only escalate when he's asked to eat some lab-grown turkey that turns him into a murderous man turkey who has a new kind of drug habit, drinking the blood of drug addicts.
Okay, so
Great.
I do have to say one thing. I don't know that I've ever heard of a drug addict turning to like a job on a turkey farm. They usually turn to other types of things. So that's pretty funny just in that.
Right, it is a very convoluted plot. Apparently it has bad editing and awkward performances that only add to that. And the on-screen narrator is there like this says like a poor man's Rod Sterling. Or not Sterling, Serling. So prone to chain smoking that the narrator actually coughs on camera.
Oh my God.
So you know it's a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
Sounds
All right, there was
awesome.
no Rotten Tomatoes on that one. So the next one I'm really excited about. This is a category I'm calling sentient foods. So which one of these is real? Is it the 2005 film Ginger Dead Man, a film about a murderous gingerbread man? Or is it the 2002 film Gummy Scare, a film about a murderous gummy bear? One of these is real.
That is insane. Okay. I'll go with Ginger Dead Man.
And
Okay,
I
Denise?
am going to go with Gummy Scare.
Diane, you've tied it. It's Ginger Dead Man.
Good job.
Woot.
Ginger Dead Man. Now, this one I'm really excited to read. Serial killer Millard Findelmeyer is executed for his crimes. His ashes are given to his mother, and she mixes them into a gingerbread spice mix and then gives it to a local bakery. Yep. By the way, Millard's mother's a witch. The bakery uses the concoction and adds some accidental employee's blood, because it's a terrible, disgusting bakery, to make a large gingerbread man that comes to life and begins killing people. It's ridiculous in every sense of the word, but there is one thing that actually makes the movie rather creepy. The voice of the Ginger Dead Man is Gary Busey.
No, that's perfect. Oh my God. Is that like when he's on a bender too?
Right. No one is saying that in real life Gary Busey himself is a giant humanoid gingerbread creature with a hunger for human flesh, but no one is saying that he isn't either.
Now,
And the sequels are worth checking out, if only for their
Sequels?
titles. It has 2 sequels.
Oh my God.
Sequel number 1 is Ginger Dead Man 2, The Passion of the Crust. And the third film is Ginger Dead Man, Saturday Night Cleaver. And that's Ginger Dead Man, which doesn't have a Rotten Tomatoes score, and I'm really upset about it, but I'm going to see if that one's on Netflix, because I need to see Gingerbread Gary Busey.
now, and this one could possibly second for a Christmas movie as well, I guess. If the other one could be a Thanksgiving one.
That's true. I'm so glad somebody fell for Gummy Scare too, by the way, because I made that up. I was kind of proud of myself for Gummy Scare. All right. So this next category is the next to last category, and I'm calling it technology. So which of these is true? Is it the 2012 film, or is real, not true? Is it the 2012 film, VHS, a film about a VCR that produces tapes of the viewer's own death? Or is it One Missed Call, a 2008 film about a possessed cell phone that calls people right before they die?
I'm going to go with One Missed Call.
Okay, Diane.
VHS.
All right, see, I've tricked you, Diane. Because there is a horror movie called VHS, but that is not the plot, and it's not from 2012.
See, you got me, because I was like, I know I've heard that movie before.
I was hoping to trick one of you at some point with it. It is One Missed Call. And here's the short little premise for you. Cell phones possessed by evil spirits call their victims in advance of their deaths. Then the victims die. No one thinks to change their number, get rid of their phone, or simply send the death spirit to voicemail. At one point in the film, an exorcism is performed on the phone. Now, this has a Rotten Tomatoes score. So I need to mark down Denise's 1 point for that. But Diane, what do you think this got on Rotten Tomatoes?
45.
Okay, Denise.
I'm going to say 18.
Denise, again, you were very close. It got a 0.
Oh my gosh. That bad.
No one liked this movie. Oh, gosh. All right. Last but not least, in our last category, I am calling this category History Goes Bump.
Oh.
And so these are historical horror films. So, I believe this is going to be Diane going first. Which of these films is real? Is it 2009's The Unborn, which is a film about the ghost of a child killed during the Holocaust terrorizing a young woman? Or is it 1996's A More Perfect Union, a film in which a revolutionary soldier wrongfully executed as a British spy returns to seek revenge on the ancestors of his accusers?
I'll go with Unborn.
Okay, and
I'm
Denise?
going with The Unborn as well.
All right, you are both correct. That is actually a movie. I totally made up that last one, but I would watch that movie. So the weird premise of The Unborn, which is really dark, is the angry, restless spirit of a boy, one half of a set of twins, who was killed in the Holocaust during World War II, roams history waiting to be reborn. So it makes perfect sense that he'd select a hot teen girl from 2008 as the object of his wrath. There are murders, hallucinations, tornado-like exorcisms, and a crazily overacting Jane Alexander shouting about the Holocaust. Fun project, though. Find a fan of ludicrously bad movies and say, Jumby wants to be born now, and watch their eyes light up. So, Denise is 1 point ahead. Diane, you can tie this thing if you get the answer to this next question, which is, what did this get on Rotten Tomatoes?
I'll guess 25.
Okay, Denise.
I'm going to say, let me go 72.
You're giving a lot of credit to The Unborn. Diane, you were so close. You were so close. It got 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a ludicrously bad movie. And so, with that, Denise, you did not go down. You're the winner.
Woo, I won.
Great. I'll be doing dishes for a week.
You already do dishes.
That was the wager that we made before before the recording started. So, Denise, you've done it. You've won. You are one of very few guests to win on our show because usually I win games. So, I'm very excited that I got to hear someone else win.
You did.
So
You did good with creativity, though.
Yes.
Because those were some crazy... I was thinking to myself, who thinks up this stuff? And then I had to remember that you thought up half of them.
I did think up half of them, which makes me worry about myself a little bit. Well, it's when I was doing the game, I was trying to find like, okay, what are 2 food-related horror movies? And I was like, wait, I only need one. I'm making up the other one. Even though I will say Ginger Dead Man, it wasn't that hard to come up with another scary food. Because I was like, what is a food in the shape of something living? A gummy bear. Cool. But some of them I sat here and just like stared at my screen for a while trying to figure out what I'd do. So that was the first edition, I guess until next year, unless we decide to do one more edition in October with our next guest. That was the first edition of Hocus Pocus or Hocus Bogus.
Woo!
So now we are moving on to our last topic of the night or day, depending on when you're listening to this, future people. And that topic is your topic, which you said favorite urban legends was what you wanted to talk about.
That is correct.
And I am very excited. I love urban legends. And by love urban legends, I mean real urban legends and not the terrible 1990 something movie urban legend where the killer kills people in the fashion of urban legends. That was that was rough to watch. That was a bad movie. But you wanted to talk about your favorite urban legends, so tell me a little bit about that.
Well, you know, that movie has a great premise, so it should have been awesome if you think about how great urban legends are. So that was just poor directing and writing.
Should have been, yeah, is the key word there.
Well, I think for most people, when you hear about urban legends, you think, oh, these are just stories that people are making up and then they pass them around. But the way that we look at urban legends, we talk about them quite a bit on our podcast, is that generally speaking, they come from some little bit of truth. So something happened that's similar to it, and then it's kind of like a game of telephone. As it gets passed along, it gets changed and things get added, or people kind of spook it up a little bit more. I have to say, one of my favorite urban legends that I think everybody, regardless of what age you are, that you can identify with is Bloody Mary. I don't think there's too many kids out there or adults who were kids who haven't tried doing the Bloody Mary thing in the bathroom at some point.
I'm too scared. I'm still too scared as an adult. Like, I'm just like, no, what happens if it's real?
I'm with you, Stephen. I actually have never tried it, but it is one of the urban legends that stick out the most in my mind. But I'm the same thing. I'm too scared to go in and do it.
I'm terrified.
Because I don't tempt spirits.
Well, and I know when we talked about it on our podcast, I was a little bit hesitant to say the Bloody Mary 3 times, even though I wasn't in a dark bathroom and spinning around and then looking in a mirror and holding up a flashlight. So it is something that's ingrained in your head to, no, don't say that 3 times, because what if she really does come back? And a lot of people who've seen the Candyman movie, it's based a lot on Bloody Mary. It's the same kind of premise. You say his name 3 times and he comes and kills people and stuff.
Right. What about you, Denise? You got a favorite?
Actually, that one does run. So it's either the Bloody Mary one or the one that was very scary for us when we were kids. Because when I was a child, parking was very, very popular. They might call it something else now.
Denise, are you trying to say that they were just parking the car on the side of the road, practicing?
Well, no, usually there are places everybody went park their car.
But they were doing something they shouldn't do?
Yeah.
No, I'm sure it was innocent. They were all just, they weren't
just
making
doing
kisses
homework.
or anything. No, it was
no, they were probably doing homework, studying, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But there was always one where the guy would come and they'd start hearing the scratching, and then they would go, and then they saw the hook and they drove away really fast. And then when they opened the door, there was a hook without the arm hanging on the door handle.
But you forgot the part about where they'd hear on the radio that there was a crazy person who had run away from the insane asylum or what have you and was on the loose, and he had a hook for a hand.
Oh, that's true.
I'm so excited, Denise, that you brought this one up, because I have something I want to share. And so I'm hoping y'all get as much of a kick out of this as I do, because I know Chris would, and I hope he's out there listening, because I know he's going to be sad he missed me telling this story. So this urban legend is one of the popular ones. It's one that has always stuck out to me. In fact, it was the first urban legend I thought of. And I did some looking into it, and there is apparently a very famous internet meme now going around based on this urban legend. And what it is either someone who English isn't their first language and it went through a translator app, or they are not very grammatically correct, or it could have been someone just trolling on the internet for all we know. There is no known origin of this version of the story, but I just need to read it to you so that you enjoy it the same way I do. And I need to say, this is not me making fun of anyone who English is not their first language. It seems like it's been through a very horrible translator app, and it's been floating around the internet for about 10 years now. And so hopefully you all enjoy it as much as I did. Man and girl go out to drive under moonlight. They stop on a side of road. He turned to his girl and say, "Baby, I love you very much." "What is it, honey?" "Our car is broken down. I think the engine is broken. I'll walk to get some more fuel." "Okay, I'll stay here and look after our stereo. There have been news reports of stereos being stolen." "Good idea. Keep the doors locked no matter what. I love you, sweaty." So the guy left to get fuel for the car. After 2 hours, the girl say, "Where is my baby? He was supposed to be back by now." Then the girl hears scratching sound and a voice say, "Let me in." The girl doesn't do it, and then after a while she falls asleep. The next morning she wakes up and finds her boyfriend still not there. She gets out to check, and man door hand hook car door hand. It's just that last part of man door hand hook car door hand. That just really makes it for me. Oh my gosh, no. That was the first urban legend I thought of. And then the more I thought about it, I actually have another one of those that's very short. And it was another urban legend I thought of somebody. It's When a Stranger Calls, essentially, was the old movie made after it, and then they remade it in the early 2000s, and it was not a good remake. But it's the idea of the babysitter at home, and she keeps getting these calls with heavy breathing and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you figure out the call is coming. She calls the police, and they tell her the call's coming from inside the house. And so I feel like that's a classic one, but there's a version of it that, again, looks like it's been through a translator app, and boy, does it make me happy. And so it's only a few sentences. The story is, "So you're with your honey and you're making out." All this is misspelled, by the way. "When the phone riggins, you answer it, and the voice is, 'What are you doing with my daughter?' You tell your girl, and she say, 'My dad is dead.' Then who was phone?" And that's all it says. I went on a deep dive finding those silly little things on the internet the other day. So when I knew we were talking about urban legends, so I just had to share those with y'all.
Well,
but
actually, I want to piggyback off of the one of When a Stranger Calls.
Okay.
Because the movie was made out of that. And it was actually, like Diane said, there's going to be true origins to urban legends and things that happen. We actually know the woman in California. It's one of our friends that we've met through many, many things, but it was her and her brother that movie happened to. But they did not end up dead like the movie went. So they did get away, but like Hollywood took some things with it, but we actually know the woman who When a Stranger Calls happened to.
My jaw is dropped for those of you who can't see me. Whoa, really?
Yeah, she shared that on our first Halloween special we had on one of our shows, and so she came on to share listener stories. And this was the old Halloween ones we did before History Goes Bump, and she shared that, and it was her.
Oh my gosh, that's
terrifying. They were one of the first people to have two lines in their house because her father had a business, and so they had two separate lines. And when they'd called the operator to find out where the call was coming from, they said it was coming from the other line that's in the house.
Oh my!
So there was somebody in the house. He just obviously didn't kill them because they're very much alive. But that's
they
where
ran
they got
out the
that
door
from.
to the neighbor and got away.
You're blowing my mind right now. Okay, so here's a weird, creepy urban legend, and just for people, I'm just gonna let you know it does have to do with sad animals, like an animal being hurt. Did y'all have the urban legend floating around when y'all were kids of the guy or girl, depending on who's telling the story, who would come home every day from work and their dog slept under the bed, and their dog would lick they would like go to bed and place their hand down, and their dog would like lick their hand, and they'd pet their dog, and they would know that everything was okay, like that nothing was wrong. Did y'all have that one?
No.
That sounds really familiar, and I think it's not going to be a dog under the bed.
Right. And so, it was always the dog, and then the person supposedly like wakes up goes home, does the same thing all over again one night, and then wakes up, and again they hear on the radio like, oh, a killer has escaped from the blah, 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 blah. As always happens in these stories, and like they wake up and hear a dripping sound, and they go in the bathroom, and their dog is dead. I won't go into the gory details, but there's dripping blood, and written on the mirror is the words "humans can lick too," which seems like a silly ending, but when I was a kid, that scared the hell out of me. Like, it terrified me.
Well, talking about mirrors and having messages written on them, this reminds me of an urban legend that we would tell, and a lot of people have probably heard this one too, where the guy meets the really hot chick in the bar, and they're having drinks and having a good time, and hey, let's go on up to my hotel room, we're going to have a great time, and he's so intoxicated that he doesn't really remember what happens when he wakes up the next morning, but he wakes up in an ice bath. And he's what in the hell's going on? He's got this pain in his low back, and then he looks up on the mirror and it says, call 911. You've had your tell them your kidneys have been removed, and don't get out of the ice because that's the only thing keeping you alive. And that one has always creeped me out, because you're like, that could really happen, that somebody drugs you and then just takes your organs out of your body while you're drugged out.
Oh my gosh.
Well, organs are worth a lot on the black market.
For sure. I'm trying to think if there are any others of like just like urban legends that everyone knows. I did want to ask you a question, being from Florida. Can you explain the skunk ape to me?
The skunk ape is basically, it seems like different regions have their own version of Bigfoot. Like you've got the Yeti over in the Himalayas and Bigfoot in the Northwest. So basically the skunk ape is our Bigfoot, and it actually looks like Bigfoot if you hear it described. So it doesn't look like a giant gorilla or monkey or ape. It looks like a Bigfoot. And the reason why it's called skunk ape is because supposedly it smells so bad, which I've heard Bigfoot apparently stinks really bad too. And they like to hang out in the swamp areas. So rather than finding them in a really thick forested area, you would find them in a swamp, I guess, hanging out with alligators. And there's a lot of people here who believe that they're real and have, supposedly they've left their footprints behind and that kind of thing. But it's just basically our name for Bigfoot. It looks very similar. There's not a lot of difference.
Yeah, and it does. They have still had sightings all the way up till even 2010, according to one of our books I just grabbed.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd seen like the Florida skunk ape, and I was like, what is that?
Yeah, most people are probably thinking it's an ape running around with a stripe down its back.
That's what I imagined. I was thinking like just a gorilla with a big like white stripe down its back that sprayed spray all over you or something.
Yeah, it just looks like Bigfoot, but apparently the best way they could describe it is because it's walking on two legs. It's bipedal, so apes can do that too. And I guess that's why, because it stinks so bad, it smells like a skunk.
I have a description I can read from the book.
Oh, Denise is going to give us the official description.
Okay.
And so this comes out of Myths and Mysteries of Florida by E. Lynn Wright. And so the description, it says, the skunk ape, Florida's version of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, the Loch Ness Monster, Yeti, or a host of other mysterious creatures reported to have been sighted in many parts of the world, is described as a human-like bipedal creature, 7 to 10 feet tall, covered with shaggy dark hair, and having, some say, large fiery red eyes. The ape is said to have a prominent brow ridge and a low forehead. Invariably, a smell most foul, akin to rotten eggs, spoiled cheese, and animal excrement, is described, supposedly caused by the creature living in air pockets of below-the-ground alligator burrows. Casts of its footprints are sometimes as long as 24 inches and 4 inches wide, with anywhere from 4 to 6 toes. The Florida skunk ape's prints apparently do not show signs of knuckle walking, as some other Bigfoot trails have demonstrated.
I mean, 4 to 6 toes could be anybody, right? I mean...
Well, that's pretty normal in here because even Hemingway's cats are all six-toed down in Key West. So that's a
true.
Florida thing.
So you're saying it's just something that's inbred, Denise?
Yeah, inbred skunk apes.
The red eyes is what got me.
Inbred
and
skunk
10 feet
apes
tall.
sounds like the worst mascot ever.
Or maybe that could have been one of the horror movies you made up.
Oh my gosh, I'm writing down inbred skunk apes. Hopefully our next guest
Fiery
is
red
not
eyes.
listening. I think he might be. But hopefully he is not. Inbred skunk apes. We're going to have a story about them. I'm feeling it. I think, last but not least, the one I want to talk about that really legitimately creeps me out. Like, most urban legends are like, oh, okay, it's a fun story you tell around a campfire. No, the thing that really creeps me out is the Mothman. Like, I don't know if, like, y'all know a lot about the Mothman, and I don't have anything pulled up, so I don't have a lot of, like, information I can give, but everything I've heard and read, and the Mothman Prophecies, the movie with Richard Gere, the Mothman terrifies me. The idea of the Mothman, this creature that just appears before all these terrible accidents, like, almost serving as an omen to, like, this scary thing that's going to happen. I don't know about y'all, but, like, everything I've heard about it scares me, like, to my core.
Well, Diane's probably going to be able to fill you in with quite a bit about the Mothman because she's done a lot of reading. And what's that city that has, like, Mothman statues and everything everywhere?
Point Pleasant in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And that's where they have the Mothman Festival. They actually just had it last month, I believe. They do that in September. This one is terrifying. And one of the reasons why it is a lot of people believe in Bigfoot. And so it makes it seem a little bit legitimate. A ton of people believe in the Mothman. And I guess it's just because when you hear the stories that go with it, it's a lot of people who have no reason to lie about something like this. The first real documented sightings were a bunch of guys who were digging graves in a cemetery. Why would they make that up? It just doesn't make any sense. And since there were no other stories about something like that, it's not like they were saying, well, we've heard the story going around, so yeah, that's what we saw too. And then you have some alien type stuff that goes with it, where you've got the men in black showing up, basically trying to tell people to be quiet about something. You didn't really see this. And just there's a lot of disturbing stories around it. And what makes it even a little bit creepier for us now is that I'm sure a lot of people have heard that in Chicago, there's been a ton of sightings in the last few months where they're seeing this Mothman-like creature, which is basically, it says man, so this is something that is in the shape of a human being. It is rather large, probably about 8 to 9 feet tall, and it has these big wings, which is why it's called the Mothman. And it seems like it can just fly around, and it's got this almost like a bird-like kind of face. We did an episode on it, and I think, if I remember right, one of the newspapers tried to claim that it was a sandhill crane that people were seeing that had some kind of, it was deformed in some way, and that so they were mistaking it for that. And we have cranes here, and while they sound very weird and they are tall and can be a little creepy looking, I guess.
Right.
I wouldn't mistake them for a man, especially in flight. They're big, but I mean, they've got these thin little legs and they're not bulky like a man. And like you said, Stephen, the thing that makes it even weirder is that these horrible accidents and, I mean, a whole bridge just falling and all these people dying because of that come after it. And it's not just one time, it's happened multiple times through the years. And so when I heard about all these sightings in Chicago, I was like, I don't think I'd drive on a bridge anywhere in Chicago.
Right. Well, it's like, and maybe this is not factual, but I've heard it at least said in different places. I don't know the historical accuracy of this, but supposedly there were sightings of the Mothman in New York on September 10th, 2001. There were like 5 separate sightings or something in New York of the Mothman. And so everybody links that, of course, with 9/11 and what happened the next day. And I think he's been spotted in before like 2 different bridge collapses and like different stuff over the years that's just, I don't know. It's one of those folklore things that, like, I know it's probably just an urban legend, but I'm not sure. Like, part of it, you could maybe convince me that this is a real thing.
Well, here's the thing that I say to people. They saw something. I don't know what they saw. It's just like with ghosts when people ask us about ghosts. I don't know what they are, but I know people are seeing or experiencing something. And so it's the same thing with Mothman. They saw something, and it was something that terrified them. I mean, the people who saw him at night saw these, like we were talking about the skunk ape, these glowing red eyes. And I've heard people say, well, maybe it was an owl. Okay, I've seen owls at night. I would not mistake that for some flying man-like creature. It just, they can be big, but...
Well, I don't know that I've ever seen an owl that I would be like, that's 9 feet tall. If I did, I would run so hard because I'm so afraid of birds. I'm so scared of birds, y'all. Birds.
Oh, birds. Oh, I'm sad. Birds are wonderful.
Okay, Denise has not seen Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds.
Oh, yeah. One, you got to watch that. Two, I've been personally attacked by geese, and now the entire goose militia is out to get me. We've talked about this. The goose cognoscenti is like, they're after me. I think they all know that I had to kick one of their brethren to get away from it because it was biting me. And
Well, geese can be rather mean, but there's a lot of really, really neat birds.
I don't know. When we were in Charleston, I saw one of those huge, what are the ones that swoop down in the water and get the
osprey?
The fish? They're like the really big ones.
Yeah, osprey maybe.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Like, and we went to the aquarium and we were in a room and it was just there. Like, there was no wall. There was no anything to keep it from getting to us. It was in a net. But like, the thing was like 2.5 feet, 3 feet tall. And I'm sitting there going like, can we move on, Katie? Like, let's go to this other room. Cause that thing is looking at me weird. And I don't know if it's feeding time or what. I know it only eats fish, but if it's hungry enough, I'm just going to carry on. So I rolled out of there real quick.
That's called an osprey or possibly a pelican?
I don't think it was a pelican.
Okay.
It was real big. I don't know what it was. I did, when I was in Florida at one point, I was over on the Gulf side of Florida in like Hudson, and I did see a bird that I'm pretty sure was a velociraptor. It was, it looked like a dinosaur. I mean, if I had stood next to it, the thing was probably as tall as me. I think it was a crane, but
you're probably right because they sound like a velociraptor too.
God, it's
either
so
that or
scary.
if it was ugly. If he was little, it could have been a stork too. They're pretty ugly. Yeah,
it was big. I'm getting scared just thinking about it. I think it's probably time that we start winding down. So, all right.
Who knew that we would end on the creepiest topic? Birds.
If Chris was here, he would have already left the room crying because we're talking about birds. I'm borderline about to run out of the room screaming, and my dog won't know what's going on. But if you would like to send us a topic for discussion or a mental health check-in, or you have anything else on your mind, as I say at the beginning and at the end of every episode, we're not mental health professionals in any way, but you can send that to us over at isthisadultingpod.com. You can follow us over on Twitter That's not our Twitter handle. I do that every time, guys. I'm sorry. At @isthisunderscoreadulting. That's the right one. Find us over on Facebook, and make sure you check out the Is This Adulting Best Friends group on Facebook. Really cool support group. I've really enjoyed watching it grow. And if you're having a bad day or a good day or whatever, just come and share, and you can discuss. Oh, goodness. You can discuss on Thursday mornings about all the topics. I'm sure this week's number one topic will be bring Chris back. We don't like Steven. But until then, you can just enjoy the sweet, smooth, dulcet tones of Steven and know that Chris will be back next week. You can also help us spread the word by subscribing, rating, and reviewing on iTunes. It's really important for newer podcasts, which I guess we're still new to the ball game. We're still coming in. So if you guys want to do that, we would really appreciate it. We are part of the Orbital Jigsaw Podcast Network. You can find our show as well as others at orbitaljigsaw.com. Shows like Insight, a podcast where listeners can join Allie and Charlie as they take a new look at true crime, mysteries, and forgotten history. Visit our website, isthisadultingpod.com. Please consider clicking the Support the Show tab on our website. And we have tons of cool rewards on Patreon. We do bonus episodes. I color coloring sheets, which I'm a little behind on, but I do all sorts of things. And so you get that in return for your support on Patreon, as well as a shout out on the show. And last but not least, we'd like to thank the collection for the use of our theme music, The Borrowers, off their album Ars Moriendi. That's going to do it for us here on Is This Adulting this week. I've been your best friend, Steven.
I've been your best friend, Diane.
And I've been your best friend, Denise.
And remember, kids, be happy, stay healthy, go hug someone. Because you never know. They might be hosting the podcast all by themselves for the first time, and it's really scary. And they're probably going to need a hug. Like, just give them that sweet, sweet hug. You don't have to know them. Okay, well, you should maybe know them. You don't want to go to jail or get the police called on you. Please don't do that. I'm a podcaster. I can't afford to bail you out of jail. I can't do it. But I guess since Chris is not here, I'll give it to you this week instead of him. Bye!